Hello and welcome to News Round, where you get a recap of stories that made headlines during the week. Coming up, NNPCL announces the 125,000 barrels per day Warri Refining and Petrochemicals Company in Delta State is now up and running, operating at 60% capacity. A Nigerian military vows to eliminate Turji and other terrorist leaders threatening the nation in 2025. President Bola Tinubu urges state governors to drive development, calls for collaboration on food, security, economic prosperity, and national growth. Plus, the longest-lived president in U.S. history, Jimmy Carter, dies at the age of 100. And 20 years after its last maintenance, the Warri refinery has been rehabilitated and is now processing crude again. This according to the management of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation Limited. Leading a delegation comprising senior management staff of the NNPCL, union members and other stakeholders to the plant, the GCEO, NNPC Limited, Mr. Mele Kyari, said the plant is already trucking out petroleum products, which include AGO and kerosene.
Warri Refining and Petrochemical Company, as it is today known, is one of the 4 Nigerian-owned refineries designed to process a combined capacity of 445,000 barrels a day. Just like the other 3, 2 in Port Harcourt complex and the Kaduna, years of skipped maintenance practice, neglect, and poor funding had eventually brought it down to mere bare bones. For the records, the last time this refinery experienced a turnaround maintenance was in 2004, leading to the decision by the GMD and MPC then to shut down the plant in 2019. But while the doors were shut, the federal government initiated a rehab process of all the Nigerian refineries, this inclusive, but with a different model. On this occasion, and in a rather surprise outing, the doors have been opened as it is official. Warri Refining and Petrochemical Company has started processing crude oil yet again. From the control room to the process plant, the pumps, the columns, the CDU, the crude distillation unit, and more, all are wearing a new look as the machine sounds hit the atmosphere.
This plant has 3 stages. We have started the plant 1, which is, we call it area 1, the fuels plant. It is able to produce AGO, kerosene, naphtha, and also a blend of fuel oil. And these are high-grade quality products that are required in the country, and we may also have a need to export them. So it's going to give us cash. This company will make money, and the promise of Mr. President that this country must be a net exporter of petroleum products is already happening.
The chief leads with the strong leadership of the GCO were able to deliver with his can-do attitude. So the charge made by the board and the GCO is that we should keep up momentum and ensure the other units are up and running.
It's been a long drawn battle to rehabilitate this plant, but one officials here say is better late and working than never. Currently, as we speak here live at the depot area of the Warri refinery, this refinery is processing 75,000 barrels of crude oil a day. It has started today and it goes down in history as the second national refinery that has been turned on in the campaign to bring back and resuscitate and bring back oil and restream all the nation's refineries. So this is it. You can see the flare stack there, and that's clearly an evidence that there's processing going on, there's crude in there, and the trucking out going on out here, and that's what the situation is here at the Warri refinery. From Warri Refinery, Refining and Petrochemical Company, Olu Phillips reporting for Channels Television.
Meanwhile, Nigeria's former president, Olusegun Obasanjo, has revealed that his successor, Umaru Musa Yar'Adua, was misled by the NNPCL when he rejected a $750 million offer from the chairman of the Dangote Group, Aliko Dangote, to manage the Warri, Port Harcourt, and Kaduna refineries. Chief Obasanjo was speaking in an exclusive interview with Channel Television in Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital.
When I was president, I wanted to do something about the 3 refineries we have.
Sure.
Port Harcourt, Warri,
Kaduna.
and Kaduna. And Aliko Dangote got a team. After I have asked Shell to come and run it for us, and Shell said they wouldn't. I said, please, come and take equity and run. They said, no. All right, no, don't take equity. Come and run it. They said, no. Later on, I called them. I called the boss of Shell then. Come and tell me what is. And he gave me 4 or 5 reasons. He said, well, first of all, we make our major profit from upstream, not from downstream. And it was after that Aliko got a team together and they paid $750 million to take part in PPP, running the refinery. My successor refunded their money. And I went to my successor. I said, do you know? I told him what transpired. He said, NNPC said they wanted the refinery and they can run it. And I said, but you know they cannot run it. But I was told not too long ago that since that time, more than $2 billion have been squandered on the refinery, and they still will not work. Anybody can tell you, if a company like Shell tells me what they told me, I will believe them. If anybody tells you now that it is working, why are they now with Aliko? And Aliko will make his own refinery work. Not only make it work, it will make it deliver. Whether we announce our own government refinery working or not working, look, it is like they say in Yoruba, the man who plants 100 heaps of yam and says he has planted 200 heaps. They say after he has harvested 100 heaps of yam, he will also harvest 100 heaps of lies.
And authorities of Nigeria's military vowed to neutralize notorious bandit leader Bello Turji, while also assuring Nigerians that they are committed to the fight against insurgency and banditry in the country. Spokesperson of Defense Media Operations, Major General Edward Buba, gave this indication in Abuja while giving the end-of-year report on the activities of the armed forces of Nigeria.
It's the presentation of the final report on the various military operations for the year 2024 as journalists converge on the conference room of the Defense Headquarters.
Good morning, sir.
The briefing focused on the operations across the 6 geopolitical zones, and according to the military, over 1,000 bandit leaders were eliminated within the year.
To refresh your memory, I will reel out some of the names of notable terrorist leaders that we've taken out since January this year. persons like Halilu Sububu, Duse Nasara Ida, Malam Saleh Umaru.
There have been reports of some threats on some communities by a bandit leader known as Bello Turji, and the military has a word for him.
During the course of the year, troops eliminated over 1,000 notable terrorist leaders, as well as their replacements. We eliminated also their commanders and combatants, among others. We also assure that similar fate awaits those parading themselves as terror leaders and commanders today. Persons like Bello Turji, take it from me, is merely a dead man walking, as he will soon follow suit many others that have been eliminated during the course of the year.
The military also have words of assurances for Nigerians on the nation's security situation.
I will say that we will not hesitate to defend the country from terror attacks with overwhelming military force in order to continue to deliver tangible benefits for all Nigerians to see and witness. To this end, during the year, we neutralized over 10,937 terrorists. We arrested over 12,538 of them, while rescuing over 7,063 rescued hostages.
Beyond eliminating terrorists, the military vows to sustain the fight against oil thefts in order to boost the nation's oil production.
And months after flood destroyed 10,000 homes in Zamfara state, reconstruction effort is underway in parts of the state. The project includes the rebuilding of over 4,000 houses in Gumi local government area of the state. Here's more.
Months after the devastating flood that ravaged Gumi town, the community is still grappling with the extensive damage left in its wake. The flood, described as one of the worst in the region's history, forced many victims to seek refuge in makeshift shelters, schools, and other public spaces. Families have endured months of hardship, waiting for relief and a return to normalcy. In September 2024, flood impacted all the 11 local government areas of the state, and according to the Zamfara State Emergency Management Agency, over 70,000 individuals in over 13,000 households were affected by the floods. Over 10,000 houses were also affected. Gumi local government area had the highest number of affected persons, with over 30,000 individuals. Months after the disaster, relief is coming the way of the victims, as a committee known as the Gumi Flood Disaster Management Committee has been set up to oversee the reconstruction of homes for victims of the disaster.
The flood victims of Gumi town and Gumi local government area of Zamfara state, we are here to verify the number of victims has already been enumerated by the earlier local committee. After the verification, inshallah, anytime from now, we'll start distribution.
We are facing very difficult life because the people lose their house. Many are sleeping in the primary school. Many are sleeping in the mosques, some in the market. So this thing is very annoying to me as being me as a district head.
The victims are hoping that the reconstruction project is completed on time to enable them return to life and trade.
Thanks for staying with us. Well, President Bola Tinubu, in his New Year message to Nigerians, said as 2025 dawned, it brings many hopes, aspirations, and prospects for better days. By the grace of God, it will be a year of great promise to fulfill collective desires. He expressed confidence that the new year will bring brighter days as economic indicators point to a positive and encouraging outlook for the nation. President Tinubu also emphasized the critical role of state governors in driving Nigeria's development and prosperity, saying their leadership at the subnational level is central to achieving food security, economic prosperity, and rapid national growth. While speaking and while receiving members of Nigerian Governors Forum at his Ikoyi residence, the president expressed his gratitude for their support and collaboration while highlighting key areas requiring joint effort for the nation's progress.
The leadership of the Senate arrived in the Ikoyi residence of President Bola Tinubu.
Happy New Year, sir.
They're here to pay New Year homage to the president. They're joined by the leadership of the House of Representatives and former presiding officers.
Happy New Year, sir.
They're received by the president in company of Vice President Kashim Shettima. The leadership of the National Assembly pledged their support to the president.
This journey of prosperity for Nigeria, this journey of reforming Nigeria, in all aspects, you are not alone. The National Assembly is with you. We will stand by you to ensure that we don't do the same thing over and expect a different result.
I want to appreciate you, Mr. President, for bringing more Soko to the port. Nigerians, at the beginning of the year, had more challenges in life. But as the year started coming to an end, more Soko, more food, more prosperity has started pouring in.
The president commended them for their commitment to the nation.
A transformative journey that we embark on is all our journey, not for us. It's for our tomorrow. It's for the future generations. Your commitment will yield that fruit, will bring the results to the babies yet unborn.
The president also met with a delegation from the Nigerian Governors Forum. The forum's chairman commended the president's economic policies.
I have not done 2 years in this administration, but I've done more projects in my less than 2 years and in the 4 years of my first term. And that is due to the structural adjustment program you're doing. The restructuring the economy means that we're getting more funding. Yes, there's inflation, but what we're getting overrides the inflation, and we're delivering a lot.
The president called for stronger collaboration between the federal and state governments to address pressing challenges in the country.
There was some gossip that maybe we had a disagreement or quarrel and everything when it was local government's autonomy. No. Just drive the development down there to the local government authorities. Nobody wants to take the control away from you. But collaboration, let's do it together and make sure Nigeria is better off from it.
The president expressed confidence in Nigeria's capacity to thrive and gave his commitment to work harder for the country. Lanre Lasese, Channels Television News.
And the federal government has reaffirmed its commitments to refinancing and ensuring the completion of the Kaduna-Kano Railway project by December 2025. The permanent secretary in the Federal Ministry of Transportation, Mr. Adele Ayodeji, made the revelation while inspecting the compressed natural gas bus service at the Eagle Square in Abuja.
These commercial buses using compressed natural gas are boarding passengers to various locations across the country as part of the federal government's transportation scheme for the Yuletide. The service is a collaboration between the federal government and 3 transport unions, including the National Union of Road Transport Workers, the Road Transport Employers Association of Nigeria, and the National Association of Road Transport Owners. The service is being provided at 50% discount amid soaring transportation costs.
Last year, they did the same thing, and now too, he has done it. So possibly, if we are alive next year, we may witness another thing, maybe probably on a grander scale.
The buses are part of compressed natural gas vehicles provided by the federal government to the unions. Additionally, the unions also provided some buses that were converted to CNG by the government. However, the turnout for the service is poor.
There's no much awareness. Like I've been here since 5 o'clock. I'm going to Jigawa. When I came, they told me that there's Jigawa car. But now, I'm the only person now.
Margaret Sunday is one of the passengers heading to Oka, the Anambra State capital. She's paying 17,500 for what would have cost about 50,000 naira.
Mr. President, we beg you, continue with this initiative. It's very good.
Beyond the free transportation, the federal government has plans to expand the nation's rail transport system.
The president is really laying the track from Kaduna to Kano, from Kano to Maradi, and we hope that by this December, next year, we are sure that Kaduna-Kano will have been completed.
In spite of the federal government's service, travelers surged to the popular Jabi Park, confirming the need for the government to do more to create awareness on the subsidized transport scheme.
And Jimmy Carter, a former president of the U.S. president, died on Sunday in his Georgian home at the age of 100, becoming the longest-lived president in U.S. history. Mr. Carter served as the 39th U.S. president from 1977 until 1981. Here's a look at the life and times of the former leader, described by many as a man of compassion and principles.
Former U.S. President Jimmy Carter, the man who rose from humble beginnings as a peanut farmer, has died at his home in Plains, Georgia, aged 100. The former president was born on October 1, 1924, as James Earl Carter Jr. in the small town of Plains, Georgia. He was the eldest of 4 children. His father ran a family peanut business, and his mother, Lillian, was a registered nurse. In high school, he was a star basketball player and then spent 7 years in the U.S. Navy, during which time he married his wife, Rosalind, in 1946, in a union he called the most important thing in his life. They are blessed with 3 sons and a daughter.
I'd like to announce that I am a candidate for president.
The U.S. Democrat served as president from January 1977 to January 1981, after defeating incumbent Republican President Gerald Ford in the 1976 U.S. election.
The office of President of the United States.
Mr. Carter was swept from office himself 4 years later in an electoral landslide as voters embraced Republican challenger Ronald Reagan, the former actor and California governor. The Iran hostage crisis shrouded his presidency as Iranian revolutionaries seized American diplomats at the U.S. Embassy in Tehran in 1979 and held 52 hostages for 444 days before finally freeing them the day President Carter left office.
A carefully planned operation which was underway in Iran.
Mr. Carter came off looking feeble after a military rescue mission he ordered in 1980 ended in failure, with 8 U.S. troops dying in an aircraft mishap.
It was a humanitarian mission. It was not directed against Iran. It was not directed against the people of Iran.
President Carter brokered the 1978 Camp David Accords that ushered in peace between Middle East enemies, Israel and Egypt, bringing their leaders together for nearly 2 weeks of personal diplomacy. However, his humanitarian cause earned him the Nobel Peace Prize in 2002 after his time in office for his untiring effort to find peaceful solutions to international conflicts, to advance democracy and human rights, and to promote economic and social development. President Carter also made trips to communist North Korea. A 1994 visit diffused a nuclear crisis as President Kim Il-sung agreed to freeze his nuclear program in exchange for resumed dialogue with the United States. That led to a deal in which North Korea, in return for aid, promised not to restart its nuclear reactor. In 2010, Mr. Carter won the release of an American sentenced to 8 years hard labor for illegally entering North Korea. And in Africa, Mr. Carter's visit to Ghana in 2007 changed global health by sparing millions of people from Ghana, worm, river blindness, and other preventable diseases. President Carter wrote more than 24 books, ranging from a presidential memoir to a children's book and poetry, as well as works about religious faith and diplomacy. His book, Faith, A Journey for All, was published in 2018. Jimmy Carter, who lived longer than any other president in U.S. history, is survived by his 4 children, Jack, Chip, Jeff, and Amy, along with 11 grandchildren and 14 great-grandchildren.
Those were the top stories for the first week of 2025. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Ladi Williams. Bye for now.